Chris Petri here. Hey, welcome everyone. Thanks for coming by. We're doing another beautiful video today here. We're going to do some flowers and we're going to have a great time. We're going to show you how to do the Prima method of flower painting, where you start out with your darks first and then you start working into your lighter washes and your lighter tonal values as you go, so that you get a beautiful end result, leaving lots of white paper, lots of bright white paper that simulates beautiful sunlight in this scene. It's a sunlit scene of some flowers in a vase. And I hope you'll join along here, come along, have fun. I'm going to just zoom back here in a second on this painting. I'll see if we can get back. Zoom back just a little bit. There we go. So you can use this as your, you can work from this painting if you want. So feel free to work from this painting. I also do a pencil drawing, so in just a few minutes you're going to see a pencil drawing. And I also wanted to note that I did, for the first 10 minutes of this video, after this portion here where you're seeing the finished painting, for about 10 minutes I did talk a little bit about how to set up your own camera and your watercolor setup if you're looking to maybe do some of your own YouTube videos. So if you're not really interested too much in maybe working on your own YouTube channel and maybe creating a channel for yourself and doing some paintings, you can just skip ahead about 10 minutes and you'll see that we start the drawing after that. But I did put a little bit of information in the beginning of this video for everyone if they are considering maybe doing a little bit of work with maybe creating videos on YouTube and having a art channel of your own. And again, I always tell everyone, you know, email me any questions or leave comments in the comment section below in this video here. Leave comments, leave questions, whatever you think you might need to ask questions about. Just feel free, send them over, the questions, and we'll handle those, and we can chat about those on our comments section area of our channel here. Okay, so we'll start up in just about a few minutes or so. And again, if you want to skip ahead 10 minutes once you start the video, after this portion here, you'll notice I do talk about some of the creating of your own videos and so forth on YouTube and how to set up your camera and all that. So if you're not interested in that, you just have to skip ahead about maybe 5-10 minutes and you'll be right into the main portion of this video, which is painting these beautiful flowers in this vase here. Beautiful sunlight, lots of light, lots of beautiful colors, and we'll see you in just a second. Okay, so welcome again. Here we're just starting up, and you saw the finished painting at the beginning of this video, which is really important that you see the finished painting, what it's going to look like when we're all completed with our drawing and painting. So now what I'll do is, just for about 5 minutes, I'm going to go over just a little tidbit of information. Some of you, I know, I realize some of you probably are going to want to start maybe creating your own channels on YouTube and painting and putting your stuff up online. And so there's a couple things that I like to share with everybody. There's been a couple comments in the comments sections once in a while, and I sometimes people will email me and I'll send them information on how I set my gear up at home to video and everything like that. But I'm not a channel that's, you know, really geared for like showing all my gear and how I set everything up, because I kind of makeshifted everything that I have to create my videos here. I started out with just an iPhone, videoing at first when I first started my videos a number of years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago on YouTube. And then I just slowly, as I could afford and I saved up money, I bought better cameras and better equipment as far as microphones and whatever else. But the main thing here, I'll just go over a few things. Like, this is my setup. I just have a table on top of a work table. So this is my this is basically just a piece of paper, like a this is actually the back of a Arches watercolor paper, if you can imagine. What I did was, once these Arches pads are completed and you've used all the paper, the very last page of this pad, when you've gone through 50 sheets or whatever it is, the last page is actually just a piece of paper, white piece of paper, hard. And there's a thick piece of cardboard underneath this, or paper like this here. So this is the back of that. So once you get to the very last sheet behind this, you'll get a white, nice clean white sheet of cardboard, and I use that for my backboard. And then when it, you know, by the time it gets all splashed up with paint, I start another one, and I usually have extras of these that I save. The very last page on these bound gummed pads here. You can also use foam board. I also use foam board for my backdrops here. So this is just and I have a 2x4 underneath. Right straight under here I have a 2x4 so that it pitches up the paper just a little bit. So I have a little bit of an angle on my paper going up this way a little bit. And that's really it. And then I have what's called glide gear bolted down to a table. And the table I have that I work on top of, I made it myself. It's basically like a workshop table. I just took 2x4s and plywood and 4x4s, thick 4x4s like this for legs. I did 4 legs of 4x4s underneath with a thick 3/4 inch plywood top. This is the kind of thing you have to have a handyman make it for you, or you can purchase a table at like a local store, like a furniture store or whatever. If you're wanting to make videos, you probably have to invest a little bit of time and effort into it. And if you ever have questions, just leave comments below in the comment section, and I can give you tidbits of information here and there on how I did everything. But basically, once I have the table all set, and then I bolted down my glide gear frame on top of my table with bolts, large bolts, are actually screws, lag screws. I bolted down my glide gear frame, and then I just put my camera. I have a Canon 80D, which is 80D. I have that attached to my frame, my glide gear frame over top here. And this way my camera's always perfectly still. It never moves. It never really shakes or anything like that. That's a big problem with some people that are on YouTube. If their camera shakes, that's really annoying, and people won't watch your videos if your camera's shaking. So my camera's perfectly still all the time because I have it bolted down to my table. And I also put some old dumbbell weights that I had when I used to work out with weights years ago. I put those weights on the bottom of the table. I made a little bottom rack on my table that I created, and that keeps it weighted down so that it doesn't move. And then I also took my glide gear frame. If you look up glide gear on the internet, you'll see what it looks like. It's a black frame that gets bolted down to a table. And basically I took that frame that I have, the glide gear frame, and I also braced it back with a custom brace to my ceiling so that everything is rock solid. There's no movement in my camera whatsoever. And that's a key ingredient with doing YouTube videos. Your camera has to be extremely stable and still, no wobble, no shake. And then and once you have that, that part done, you're good to go. And then you just got to make sure you have everything in focus. So I always zoom in. I can show you here. I zoom in to my, you can do anything. You can take a ruler and just zoom into the ruler like that. And you can see how I've zoomed into that. Now if I was to look at my camera viewfinder, I'll notice that that's blurry. So every time I start a new video, I zoom in, and then I make sure that I'm right on the money for my focus. So I got to focus in on this and get it just perfect where everything is crystal clear. Crystal clear, crystal clear. There it is. And then I zoom back out like so. And then I just zoom in and out as I need according to the size of the paper we're going to work on. So if we're working on a larger paper, I zoom out. I zoom in if we have smaller paper. So this video here, we're going to zoom in a little bit because we're not using a large, extremely large paper. So we'll do something like this. We'll have our palette here. And then again, you want to have everything basically secured down to your working area. So we don't want to have stuff sliding around while we're videoing our painting. So you'll know if you watch my videos all the time that, and if you don't watch my videos all the time, hey, subscribe right down there, right below there. There's a little red button, subscribe, hit subscribe. This way you can see my videos every week, and you can learn more about painting, drawing, watercolor. We do all the methods, all the techniques. We do landscapes, flowers, seascapes, boats, cityscapes, figure painting, you name it. Everything watercolor. And then now what I'm doing is I'm taking some artist tape and just making sure I secure my palette so that my palette does not move around while we're painting here on video. So again, if you're thinking about doing some videos of your own and striking out and doing some new YouTube videos of your own, I'll be more than happy to share any information that I can help you with that. So here we're just taping down our palette. See, it's nice and tight, it's not moving around, nice and secure. We don't want stuff moving around while we work. And then I happen to have dropped my tape down behind the wall over here, so let's find some other tape. I find that the Pro artist tape is really good. Pro brand, Pro artist tape is really good, a really great brand of artist tape. And the reason being is it's really bright white color. It's not like masking tape is kind of a yellow color. So when we're doing our videos here, we're concerned about things looking good. So that's why we'll use this white, really bright white tape. This way it doesn't distract the eye as we're painting and doing our video. So I'll just put tape all around our paper as we work. And I just do the entire outside edge of the paper, maybe a ½ inch of coverage in on the paper, so we have a ½ inch of border of tape on top of the watercolor paper. And then I notice here it's going to be a little bit too wide. Let me use smaller tape. So I look around, and do I have some smaller tape? I do. So I have thinner tape here, so I'll use that. Have different thicknesses of tape, widths of tape while you work, because you might need to use some different widths of tape while you do your videos. Or if you're just painting in general, you know, you might want to have different widths of artist tape. So that's good. Now, of course, you saw the first part of the video. You saw the finished painting. So it's a beautiful flower painting, and all we're going to need is a pencil and one watercolor brush. Maybe we'll just use a number 6 Da Vinci, or this is actually a Raphael brush. So this is a Raphael number 6 watercolor brush, round watercolor brush with a natural hair brush, Kolinsky Sable. We'll use just the number 6, and we're going to use just a regular office pencil. I'll sharpen that up. So we have a nice sharp office pencil ready to go. We have our brush over here ready to go. We'll get some fresh water. So I always wash out the bucket here. So for this, I'll pour a little water in there. I still see some of that muddy muck underneath there on the bottom of my pail. So I take an old fan brush I had from oil painting years ago, and I'll just clean up a little bit. And I try to clean all the little ridges inside my water bucket so that there's no sediment in my pail. And I just go around the outside here. You probably wouldn't want to do this over your watercolor paper. This process here, you'd want to do this like in a slop sink or a sink or over a towel, or you can put down a sheet or a towel when you're working in your house so you don't mess things up. But for the most part, I just want to make sure I have my water bucket nice and clean. And then we have a water container, an orange juice container I use, and I just pour that in. And this way we have nice, fresh, clean water to work with. for this painting. And so let's take a quick break. We've gone over a lot of information, and I realize everybody might have, if you're not interested, of course, if you know, at this point in time, this is when we're going to start doing our drawing and our painting, but this information, the first 5 or 10 minutes of this video is really important if you're thinking about or even contemplating maybe starting your own YouTube channel and getting on YouTube. Just, you know, the few tidbits that I share is good to keep in mind. You know, keeping a still camera. You don't want your camera at all shaking around or moving whatsoever. And having a good table to work on top of, a work table. And if, you know, you can always find creative ideas on how to work a little bit better if you maybe don't have all the room in the world at your place, let's say, or a place you can set up. There's other ways to do things, but for the most part, a good stable table to work on, a stable frame with your camera on that. And I started out with some really primitive gear and setup. I started out with a cell phone when I first started my my YouTube channel. So I've changed a lot of gear over the years, and each time I've changed my gear and made my videos look better, it's been more, it's been better for everyone that, you know, for you watching, you enjoy my videos more if I have a better setup with the way I do my videos, the stillness of the camera, the clear picture that I have on my camera. All these different things add up to better videos, which you'll be happier with. So I'm always trying to improve my setup with my camera, with my gear, with my microphones. I'm still working on things. I'm still trying to get things even better. But for right now, this is the best I can do. And of course, in the future, I'll be trying to upgrade a little more, maybe do a better microphone, maybe do some overdubbing with my my voiceovers. So maybe doing some voiceovers with better sound. I'm actually right now working on soundproofing my studio area here, so that the sound is a little better with the microphone I'm using. I'm using a shotgun microphone right now across from me, up above where I'm working from. So just some tidbits of information again. Hope you're all having a great time with your watercolors, and whatever level you're at, if you're beginning, just starting out, whether you're a little bit a ways into your watercolor painting and drawing, or whether you're more advanced and you're looking to maybe start your own YouTube channel, whatever it is, we're here to answer your questions. Leave comments in the comments section as always. Also, there's an email I have in my YouTube video. If you look below, down in the comment section area, there is an email. You can email me any questions you have too as well, about how to set up your gear, whatever else. I can always give you more information if you need, or about painting in general and so forth, watercolor painting. So, okay, now it's time to take a quick break, and we'll come back and we'll start our flower painting, and we'll get going on that, okay? All right, we'll see you in just a second. All right. Hey, everyone. Thanks for, again, coming by. I appreciate it. Thanks for all the great comments in the comments section, everybody, and the thumbs up. As we work on our new videos here every week at my channel. Thanks for, again, supporting me. I appreciate all the beautiful comments everyone leaves, and all the thumbs up, and all the encouragement. Really keeps me stoked to keep on making my videos here. And YouTube's a great place. I just love teaching here on YouTube. It's a great place for me to just share my ideas on watercolor. I'm always improving, always learning. I'm always practicing behind the scenes, during my off time. When I'm not making videos, I'm always practicing. I'm reading, I'm learning, I'm looking at more pictures, more videos. I'm always trying to learn more information on watercolor and drawing and painting, and I hope I can bring that to you, and so you can improve in your watercolors too as well. And it all is for the better. Everyone's enjoying our videos here, and according to your comments, you're all really having a great time with this, so fantastic. Again, the first 10 minutes of this video, I did go over some basic ideas of setting up a camera to do your own YouTube videos. If you want to do your own videos, or you're thinking about contemplating it and maybe, working up to something like that, and if that is the case, again, leave comments, send me emails, whatever it is. I can guide you in the right direction. I've done a lot of research on how to set up my art gear for my YouTube videos. I've been doing it for like 5 or more years now, so I've learned quite a bit over the last 5 or 6 years doing this. But there's a lot of great people out there that are teaching a lot of great stuff on how to make videos on YouTube as well, so you can search out that stuff too as well. But let's get started. Here we're going to do, just again, we saw at the beginning of the video, the flowers. that we painted and the vase. So let's start out. We're going to start out real simply here with, at the bottom of the painting, we're going to contour draw. We're just going to slowly come up, and we're going to go across, and maybe we're going to start some flowers over here, and some flower, oh, there's another flower over here, and some greens over here. So you can see I'm starting out, contour drawing where I just start in one location. I started at the bottom of the vase and I come up, and then I just start looking at my picture across from me. You're going to use my painting, my finished painting, and my finished pencil drawing to work from. I can't always show what I'm working on because of copyright issues and so forth. Sometimes I'm using pictures online to work from, and I don't know who owns those pictures, and they might not be happy if I'm using their photographs to draw from or paint from. So that's why I always encourage everybody to please work from my finished paintings and drawings, pencil drawings. In this way, and I'm trying to get into a rhythm here. I'm trying to find some colors, some shapes. So I'm going up here. Now I'm starting to get higher up in the drawing and painting area, my rectangle here. So we can put a little rectangle around this to make it a little more obvious here. This is the rectangle we're working within, like that. So as I get up higher and higher, I start to realize I better go back down this way and work closer to where I've done all of my other pencil lines here, because it's better to sort of work within the areas you're working in, close, you know, the close. If you can work your drawing and relate all of your drawing to the areas you've already completed, you'll have an easier time. If you start going way far out onto the paper, sometimes you can lose the feel for the scale of things and how large and small things are. But if you stay close as you're working to the other things you've just drawn in, you'll have a better time of it. So that's a tidbit of information there on trying to keep your drawings on track with what we're doing here. We're trying to accomplish some really good shapes, and we don't want to we're trying to keep close to the areas we're working in. And you never worry about things because you know you're going to go back in and paint all of this entire area. But we try to get our drawing in pretty solid. Some areas you're going to have very free flowing colors and shapes and tonal values. And then some areas you're going to have sharp focus, where you're going to want to have the viewer looking at your painting. And there's other areas you're just going to have okay, and then over here, we have that, and then our vase is over here. Okay, and then we have the handle. There we go. We do a nice little swoop around here for the handle on our vase. This could be a water pitcher, a nice beautiful white water pitcher, and then let's add the area where we think we're going to put our shadow on our vase, which is there. And then maybe we're going to have the back of the table over here. We'll make a little table in the distance just to give us a little bit of reference points here. We're on a table, and this might be the back of the table here. So we're going to put that in with our pencil line just so we know. Let's make a little background here and then some background color. And then we got our flower shapes in here. And then up here, we're going to do more shapes there and another dark up here. And again, you can leave large areas of white paper here and there so that you utilize the bright white paper that you're working on as your lightest lights. And here we have the flower, the main center flower here, white flower we have here, so we're going to do that. And I think that's pretty good. Can you see how this looks? Can you see it? Nice loose contour drawing. You just start in one location and start working, and then you just keep close as you're working and guiding your pencil around, trying to kind of feel the shapes and how large they are, how small and large they are as you're going out. And you want to kind of use each area you've already completed to use for scale, so that you kind of know if the vase is this big, the water pitcher is, let's say you can use your pencil as like a measuring tool, and you can say, okay, if the vase is this large here, where my hand is, my thumb and my pointer finger, my index finger and my thumb, that's the size of the vase right there, right? So then you can hold that up in front of you where the picture is if you're working from the screen of your phone, the TV, the laptop, the home computer, whatever you use, you want to gauge with scale your drawing. So what I can do is I can say, okay, this picture is the same approximate height of the main flower in the center of this painting. So then I can go over and look at my picture over there across from me, and I find out, okay, where's the, let me look at this and say, okay, so that's the, okay, maybe it's different though. It's different across from me than it is down here, but the scale will be the same. So whatever it is across from me in the picture, on the camera, on the phone, on the computer screen, whatever it is you're working from, a book, you can look and say, okay, the first part, okay, so this is the, across from me as I'm looking at it, across the table, and I'm looking at the picture on my cell phone, and I say, okay, this is the size of the vase. So I know, let me look at the other, what's the main flower look like? How big is it? And then I go up and I go, oh wow, yeah, the flower is the same size as the vase. So the main flower and the vase are the same size, the same scale, from my thumb to the top of my eraser. Then I come down and say, okay, I drew my vase first. Now I say, okay, how big's my vase? My vase is this big. Now we're starting over again with our scale, and we're using the pencil and saying, okay, now this vase here I just started with in my painting is this big. Now I know, I take this and I move it up and say that's how big my first flower, that main flower in the center of this painting, is going to be. The same height as that vase. 1, 2, and there you got it. So you can use your pencil as a measuring tool for any dimensions you need to. You just work your painting according to your photograph. So you just look at your photograph, your computer screen, whatever you're working from, you find that scale with your pencil. You could even use a ruler if you want. A ruler, and use like inches or millimeters, centimeters, whatever it is. And then you just say, okay, I just put my ruler. So if you could say, if I'm using a ruler, you can say, all right, I just put my I just put my ruler up to my vase on my computer screen, and it says it's 4 centimeters. So 4 centimeters is right there. Okay. Then I put my ruler up to my painting that I see on my computer screen or my cell phone or whatever you're using, a book, whatever it is, and you say, oh wow, yeah, that flower is 4 centimeters higher than the top of the vase. And then you come back down and you say, okay, so that 4 centimeters and 4 centimeters. All right, so now I'm drawing this and I know this flower is the same height as this. Maybe what's this? This is 5 centimeters. I just drew this 5 centimeters. So you can start off and draw your vase first, then say, all right, the vase is 5 centimeters. Wow, I just go up here and say, the flower, the top of the flower is 5 centimeters up here. So you're just using scale to get your proportions correct in your painting. That's all it is. So if you just remember, you can use a ruler, you can just use your pencil really fast and go, okay, pencil. If I hold my pencil up across from me and figure out where that is and say, oh, okay, there, yep, and that, oh, that's the same height. The flower and the vase are the same, 2 sizes. Come down, boom, pencil down, get your mark where your finger is, your thumb, your index finger, and say the same height is the flower, top of the flower. There you go, top of the flower. Just like that. So that's how you can gauge whatever it is you're working on. It doesn't have to be flowers, it could be landscapes, seascapes, boat paintings, whatever it is, and you can scale all of your information in your rectangle this way to make sure your scale is correct, so that you don't wind up with a tiny little flower in the center of your paper and then you have all empty space around it. So let's keep going. But before we do, let's take a break. Hey, everyone, take breaks. I'm taking a break right now, and then we'll start up with our painting next. And again, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe right down there. There's the red button, subscribe, and if you hit the notification bells as well, you'll get alerted when new videos come out each week, so that you can look at the videos, check them out if you like to work on them and work on the tutorials that we're creating here. You can do that. If you want to wait till the next week when you find something better, fine. But I always say if you watch every week, you're going to learn more information, because you're going to see the same methods and techniques that I use on a constant basis. And then the more you hear it, the more you see it, the more you're going to be able to paint in the same fashion, in the same manner with your watercolors. And that's going to make your watercolors look much better, more exciting, and you'll be happier. So let's keep on painting, and let's be happy, and happy painting, everybody. And we'll come right back and we'll start doing our painting here. We're going to use our number 6 Raphael brush, and we'll watch how easy it is to create this beautiful flower painting. We're going to do it fast, simple, no stress, no worries. We'll just get it in quick. You'll see how easy it is. Okay? All right, we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back now. We are going to start our painting. We noticed that we did our contour drawing here, and we explained that just in the last 15 minutes or so. We kind of took our drawing and we said we were going to start out in one location with our vase and work up into the drawing. As we went around the drawing, we actually used our pencil. So we used our pencil here, and we gauged how big our first flower was. That was the same height of the vase as the flower. And then we can also gauge other things by using our pencil as a measuring tool to scale things. So basically we use our pencil, our pen, our watercolor brush to use as a measuring tool, just to get some things scaled correctly. And that's all we needed to do for that. And we're ready to start painting. We'll start with our darks first. So we're going to paint the alla prima method. And I'm using my, I'm working from a cell phone image, so I have my cell phone sitting across from me, and we'll use that. And you're going to work from my finished sketch and my finished painting. So with the alla prima method, again, we're going to start with the darks, put the darks into the painting first, and then work our lighter washes from there. So we'll start right out from the bottom of the painting, we're going to get there's some green there, some sap green, some olive green, French ultramarine blue. Will, to make it a little darker, we can do some darker greens up here, burnt umber, French ultramarine blue, sap green, some darker green up there with some burnt umber and French ultramarine blue. So that's our darker greens, maybe a little bit of chromium oxide. Okay, let's get some greens going here. So let's start here and I'm actually using my Charles Reed signature brush, and this is a phenomenal brush. I have these packed in my go bag, so whenever I go out on location to paint, on vacation, or a weekend away from the home, when I go out and do maybe a weekend jaunt and I do some painting out on a weekend trip, or if I'm again on vacation, or even if I just go out for the day around locally, I bring my Charles Reed travel brushes, and then these are always in my leather bag, which I showed on my last video last week. So if you saw my video last week, you saw my travel gear for when I go out and do painting on the road, vacation, whatever it is. So that's a good thing to keep in mind, is having some great brushes to have with you as you paint outdoors, on vacation. So here I'm doing some darks, working into the French ultramarine blue and burnt umber up here. Then we're going to have some cadmium yellow and cadmium lemon yellow, and some yellow ochre, just to get some color here. Maybe a little bit of that darker dark in the middle there. And then some greens over here, another leaf. So you're going to see we're doing the darks. Most of the darks we're going to do right now. And sometimes you'll put in some lights too. Some lighter washes as you're doing your darks, but mostly you're concentrating on your darkest darks first. But you will at times add some medium and light tonal values as you go. But the darks are the most important thing right now. We're getting those in first. And then we're going to go with some purple and alizarin crimson and ultramarine violet for a purpley red. And let's do some of that here. French ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, there we go. And we're going to try to a little bit of shadow there. And again, you'll see me put in some light wash here and there once in a while, but mostly, again, we're sticking with our darkest darks. And then we're going to go in more darks here, French ultramarine blue, cobalt blue. So we're just going to do some blue over here. A couple splashes. Dark darks here. Couple dark darks there. And you can work around your painting doing your darks. Again, that's the key here, is trying to do the darks first. French ultramarine blue, burnt umber, dark there, and then we have some greens. And I'm sticking with my game plan here with the darks, and again, probably the best bet is to work from the center areas that you start with and work outwards. So you're working outwards from your bottom area. You start here, let's say, and you just start working from here and you work outwards. It's not a great idea for me to start going way out over here toward the far areas of the painting without continually looking at the painting back and forth, back and forth. I'm looking at my painting the whole time, carefully studying it, where I'm going, what colors am I using, where the darks are. So here we got a little yellow in there, some cadmium lemon yellow. Again, I will put in some light washes as I'm going here, but for the most part, again, we're doing the darks. And blue, purple, and this is again, leave lots of white paper on this, okay? You're the artist. You have to make decisions on your artwork and how you're approaching your style and the paintings and how you're creating your paintings. If you keep the idea in your mind that you want to keep lots of white paper in your painting, that's going to be a real big positive for you as you paint, because you can always go back and add light washes to your white paper. But if you cover over your white paper with paint all over the whole entire watercolor painting, then you're not going to preserve any of your white paper, which can give you some really powerful bright light. So remember that as you paint. Remember that key factor of leaving lots of whites, especially when you're starting out your painting. And that's where alla prima painting, the technique of alla prima painting, is a real advantage, because you're painting in your darks first, leaving lots of white paper. Then after you get all your darks in, Then you can start putting in your medium, your your medium tonal values, your medium tones on your washes into the painting, and then from there you can step back and look at things and go, oh, okay, yeah, let me leave some of those whites of the paper, but let me add some more, you know, middle tones here and there. And so that's what we're doing now. We're not just taking the whole paper and painting over everything. We're preserving our whites as we go, and that's always a good thing. So I'm going to just keep doing as I go, doing what I do. So over here we're doing some more darks, the greens over here. And again, certain areas you're going to, certain areas of your painting you're going to do very free, very fun, you're not getting into much detail, and then other areas like here, this flower in the center of the painting, this we're going to do a little more detail to. But some of the other areas we're going to leave them very loose, almost as if you're not really concerned so much with every detail on some of these other sections of the painting. So let's keep that in mind too. Again, you're the artist. You have to decide what your approach is on things, what your ideas are when you're painting. So this idea that I'm sharing now is have a couple areas where you have detail, good strong detail, focus, interest, and then other areas where you're going to be more relaxed and you're not going to get into too much detail with things. You're going to leave it more loose, more free looking, so that the eye can relax. If someone's looking at your painting and every area of the entire painting is full of detail, that might be a little bit stressful for the person looking at your artwork. Whereas if you leave some areas where it's kind of free, fun, not too much detail, then they can rest their eyes there, and then they zoom into one area and they say, oh, nice, there's a beautiful sharp focused flower, and then you can see how that might work to your advantage. So let's keep working here, and we've got a lot of darks in here now. Let's keep going though. We have more darks to accomplish here. Over here there's some more greens and some golds, so it's always good to add some gold, yellow ochre into some of the greens. Makes them a little more lively. And you can kind of see how we're starting to kind of paint around the petals of the flower here in this central location. A little bit of blue for shadow there, and a little bit there. So now I'm starting to create a little bit of shadow with some of the purple and and if you see a spot that maybe you're not happy with the shadows, no big deal. You can lift up a little bit with some tissue. You can lift up some washes with tissue as you go. If you're looking at things and saying you're not happy, you might not like a certain spot, that's okay. You can lift up with some of that. And we're going to do a little dark, a couple spots of dark there. And again, some loose, fun areas where you're not doing a tremendous amount of detail, just some fun washes. I'll do the shadow on the vase now. And once we do this, maybe we'll take a little break. And maybe a little bit of orange there. Some orange to warm things up. Okay, so we're really looking very good. This is coming along nicely. Again, you can kind of see we have that beautiful flower in focus here in the center of our painting. We're looking really quite good with our vase. So we're going to do a little shadow on the vase handle here, maybe. Like that. And let's let this dry. Let's let this dry. We'll come back. We're going to take a break. Once we let this dry, that'll be the perfect time to come back and finish up what we're doing here, getting in those last bit of washes, the medium tonal values, as well as some of the really super light washes, and even a few darks if we have to. Maybe we'll do a little bit of a couple twigs and finer details with our rigger brush, or we have also our needlepoint brush we use. So we'll get into that in just a few minutes. And again, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe right down there on the right hand side. There's a red button, subscribe. This way you can come back week after week, watch what we're doing, follow along with us here. We're just doing watercolors every week, all the imaginable subject matter that you can find we're going to do here, so that you can kind of get used to doing all kinds of interesting paintings, different subject matter. This way, whenever you're confronted with any kind of painting or situation where you need to create a painting for someone, if someone wants to have you paint a painting for them, you can say, no problem, I've done a landscape, I've done a seascape, I've done flowers, I've done figure painting, I've done all of this. I've tried it, I can do it. And this way, let's go forward with confidence. We're going to do our watercolors week after week, just practicing the very basic fundamentals each time we get together here. And then over time, you're going to see that your painting is going to look so much better. You'll have so much more fun, and you'll have a great time of it. Okay, we'll be right back. Again, we're going to let this dry. We've done quite a bit of washes now on this painting. Let it dry. Come back 20 minutes, half an hour later. This will be nice and dry, and we'll continue working on this. Okay, everyone, thanks for coming by. We're getting back into things here. We're just going to finish up our painting now. We have our darkest darks in. We say, as we paint watercolors, we're going to have different techniques we're going to use. This is the Prima technique. We're doing all our darks first, and then we start working in our medium tonal values and our lighter tonal values and our lighter washes toward the end of the painting. This way you get a great effect of sort of taking your time building your painting as you're going and creating your painting as you're going, and not getting too ahead of things. Sometimes we can maybe at times we cover over all of our white paper, and the next thing you know, we don't have any areas where we can leave some bright lights. So these are white flowers here in the center of our painting. We want to leave lots of white paper, and we did that, and we just added some lighter tonal values as we were going. As you saw, we did add some light washes here and there, but for the most part we were focusing on the darkest darks in this painting when we started, and we accomplished that. We have all of our darks in now, so now it's just a matter of going in, and we'll finish up with our lighter tonal values, and you'll see how everything comes together quite beautifully. So let's start out here. If we're going to do our lighter washes, we'll need to maybe let's clean up our palette a little bit. It's always good to keep our palette clean. We know the colors we've been using, so it's okay. We can clean up our palette and get the colors off, because sometimes the colors get muddy and messy looking, and we want to keep very vibrant, exciting colors on our watercolor paintings. We don't want to get too many messy, muddy looking colors on our paintings. So we clean off the palette, and then and again, now toward the end of the painting, when we're doing very light washes, all the more important that we use really clean, fresh paint without all the muddy colors. And as well, we want to use fresh, clean water. You can kind of see how that's kind of muddy looking water. I'm going to empty this out, and then I'm going to put fresh, clean water in there. And again, I use an orange juice container, and we just pour in some fresh, clean water, so that this way the light washes are going to have beautiful, pure pigment and clean water as we go. Okay, now let's do some greens here. Chromium of oxide, I like to use that. Yellow ochre, sap green, maybe a little bit of burnt umber. And we're going to do a little dark over here. And I just added some burnt umber, sap green, chromium of oxide green, sap green, chromium of oxide green, burnt umber, and a little bit of yellow ochre to give ourselves a little bit of a darker dark over here. Maybe we'll do a little of the same wash with a little bit of blue maybe added there. And here we'll go around the handle. And again, some burnt umber maybe here, just to give it some nice earthy dark there. Then we'll use some of that blue, maybe a couple splashes. And we're getting there. We're really having fun. Purple, ultramarine violet, and some alizarin crimson. Cobalt blue even a little bit too. And let's just do a little bit of a light wash over here. And some French ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, ultramarine violet. Let's do some really beautiful, and we're still doing darks, so we always, with the alla prima method, you always have the option of doing lights and darks. The main idea of the main takeaway from alla prima method is when you're starting your painting, your first 20 minutes or so, you're getting in your darks first. As you're watching and you're looking at your photograph, your painting that you're working from, you're trying to get all the darks in as much as you can as you go, and you just work around the painting. Then you start doing your middle tonal values after that, and you can add darks here and there too, once in a while, just to, if you think, you know, there's certain darks you didn't get on the first portion of your painting, that's fine. And I think we're really getting there now. Let's do some cadmium lemon yellow there. Let's get some Now I'm just adding some colors around here and there. There's some more sap green, chromium of oxide. There's some. Now I'm just doing a little scribbly looking brush strokes There's some greens over here. And some cerulean blue, a couple splashes with cerulean blue here and there, cobalt blue and some of that purple, and I'll just add a little more exciting shadow there on the handle. And again, you can see we had a lot of fun with this. We didn't fuss around too much. We had one or two areas where we did some really fine details in that area here, the center. Burnt umber, French ultramarine blue. You can do a little more And now, to add the final touches to this painting, we can use our number 8. This is actually number 10 needlepoint brush. You can see it's got a very, very sharp point, which is great for like stems and fine type details for our watercolor flower paintings. So let's get some burnt umber, French ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, and a little bit of sap green onto our needlepoint brush. You see how sharp that is? And then what we can do is we can add a little bit of interesting stems to our painting, which are, it's just going to make it look it's going to read really beautifully here. As we know, when we're doing paintings with flowers and so forth, if you have these beautiful stems and things, it just makes it look really phenomenal. So I just get a couple here and there, not too many. And again, that's the key. Don't overdo it. A couple stems here and there, maybe a couple this way, coming down off the and I think that looks just right. We can also a little bit of cadmium, a little bit of alizarin crimson to add a little bit of warmth over here. So I add a little bit and then just kind of use the clean, fresh, clean water. Maybe a little bit of orange, cadmium orange, to warm up the painting a little bit. Over here, just add some cadmium orange in a couple of the areas where there's the white paper. Just so we have some beautiful warm notes on our painting. Same here, a little bit of that orange. Clean, fresh, clean water. And we just mix around that orange on just the ever slightest touch of cadmium orange on a few of the petals couple of the whiter portions of the painting over here, the same thing. Leave some white paper with no wash whatsoever, but also add in some warm notes here and there. And that gives it that warm feeling of sunlight. And you have a lot of fun with this painting because you have some abstract looking ideas around the main flower here and the main vase. So here you have the vase, and then that's really a strong detail in the painting, the vase, and also this large white flower in the center. And then from there you just have some free-flowing, abstract-looking light and some colors, and it looks beautiful. You have a fun time with it. You don't have to struggle with doing 10 flowers and agonizing over every flower. Do one flower really well in the center of your painting, and then you just do some more light, abstract-y looking flowers and shapes throughout the rest of the painting. And then when you finish up, you're using a beautiful needlepoint brush, which you'll get your details in with those fine twigs and stems in your vase, your arrangement, your flower arrangement here, and I think it'll just be a perfect painting for you to try. And you can frame it when you're done, and we'll peel off the tape here and we'll see how it looks. I hope everyone is going to leave some comments. Thank you for all your comments. I appreciate all the great encouraging comments you send me, and the thank yous, and the interesting questions. And I hope you're subscribing. Everyone's subscribing, having a fun time coming back week after week, and just watching the videos. If you're not maybe interested in painting a certain subject, like if I'm painting boats and you don't like boats, well, at least watch the boat paintings and see how you'll just remember the techniques a lot better and the methods a lot better if you're watching, even though you might not be interested in painting that particular subject matter. And maybe I'll move this here too. I'll move the palette. We'll try to zoom in a little bit. There we go. Okay, I hope everyone enjoyed this, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks again for all the great comments, being a part of our channel here, Everything Watercolor. And I know your watercolors are getting better. You're the artist. You know the best channels to go to for your information, and I'm hoping you're tuning into my channel week after week, month after month, and year after year to create better paintings, more exciting paintings, and getting all the key information you need for your artwork. Okay, see you on the next video. Bye-bye.